What's going on YouTube? So the Sportage is Kia's best-selling model, and it's also their longest running nameplate. And building off of its best sales year ever, we have the refreshed 2026 Sportage, this time in the efficient and more powerful hybrid version. So with all these enhancements, is this something you should pick over the refreshed CR-V or the upcoming all-new RAV4? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Now, like always, a good place to start out with will be a quick spec dump under the hood. So you've got three different powertrain options for 2026 on the Sportage. We have the hybrid model. So this is a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with your electric componentry making 232 horsepower. That's paired to a 6-speed automatic transmission. And with the all-wheel drive system, we have a combined fuel economy rating of 35 MPG.
Now, the base price of the Kia Sportage Hybrid is $30,200 this year. And if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on in this video, we will be taking it out for a spin. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading, and at the end discussing resale and reliability.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the refreshed exterior design as well as all the interior enhancements. Now, like I was just mentioning, Kia made some updates to the overall design of the Sportage for the 2026 model year. You'll notice that very prominently up here in the front. What they kind of did was change their grille to be a little bit more squared off this year. I think it gives it a little bit more of a rugged design overall. And even though it's a relatively small change, in my opinion, it makes a pretty big difference. Now, in terms of what options you have here, you've got a lot of different choices between the trim levels. As a matter of fact, for 2026, Kia is adding 2 new trim levels to the hybrid model. So you have an affordable S trim level, and they've also added the stylish X line to the hybrid for the very first time this year. That's in addition to all the other trims. Here we have the SX Prestige. This is the fully loaded model. So you notice up top, you have a little bit of satin silver accenting. Also down here at the bottom, the rest is finished in a gloss black. And then the big thing that the SX Prestige adds is the elevated lighting. So regardless of which model you choose, you'll still have full LED headlights. But when you choose this top trim, this gives you the stacked crystal projector LED headlights, which is a little bit more premium. You also have that signature DRL going on through there, which is quite big and bold. And then this model also exclusively gets the LED fog lights down here at the bottom. As we walk around to the back, you'll see some changes back here as well, although not quite as substantial as the ones in the front.
Yeah, overall, I think it's a nice update, but they didn't change too much, and I don't think they needed to. So we have a spoiler up here at the top. We also have a wiper integrated underneath, and really the main element that they've changed is the lighting. So the overall taillight shape is the same. However, we have a new standard LED taillight, so that's going to be on all versions instead of just the high models, and that includes your brake light, your turn signal, and then your reverse light is also LED, and it's down here in the lower bumper area. Speaking of the lower bumper area, you're not going to have any exposed exhaust outlets or anything, and your tow rating comes in at 2,000 pounds for the hybrid model or up to 3,500 pounds with the gasoline version.
Moving on to the wheels, you have many choices varying in sizes from 17 to 19-inch alloys. This being the fully loaded model means we've got the 19-inch alloys. All of them have new designs for 2026 as well, so this is kind of the latest geometric look that you've seen on some of the other Kia products. You've got a little bit of gloss black accenting around the wheel arches as well as the lower part of the body. And then as we move up here to our mirrors, the features you want, such as heating and blind spot monitoring, those will begin on the S trim for the hybrid models. And then you also get power folding if you choose a fully loaded example.
Now, at the side of the Sportage, the overall vehicle length is 184.4 inches. And as far as design touches are concerned, we have the blacked out window surrounds, and we also have the flush mount roof rails up here at the top. I do want to point out the X Pro model would have the raised roof rails, but you can't get that on the hybrid. That also means you can't get a two-tone roof on the hybrid either. Now, when it comes to your safety systems, I'm happy to tell you that all of those are standard equipment on the Sportage. The only caveat to that is if you choose this fully loaded SX Prestige, that will additionally include Highway Drive Assist 2.0. But guys, there's a lot to talk about when it comes to interior luxury for this Sportage. But first, if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we've reviewed over 2,000 cars at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from sound level readings to cargo measurements, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now it's time to move to the interior. First, here's our Kia fob. It's their latest version with the buttons kind of on the side there. Of course, you have a smart entry system, remote starts available. We also have smart park since we have the fully loaded model. Now, getting inside the vehicle, as we approach, it folds the mirrors outward, detecting our approach, and then you just grab behind the handle there, and that will unlock the door. Now, as we take a look inside the interior, Kia is really good about keeping kind of all their products up to date, and with this refresh of the Sportage, they have certainly got it right in line with many of their latest and greatest products. And before we get into individual details, let's start, of course, with the seats. So your lowest trims, those begin with cloth seating. However, most of the trims come with Syntex leatherette. This is an elevated version because we have the SX Prestige. So what that means is that we have perforation through the center section. We have a cloth combination up here at the top to kind of give it a more premium vibe. And it is two-tone in the finish. We just have the gray and black. But one of the cool things about this model is that it is available in some more interesting color options depending on which trim you choose. Down below, all but the base model have 10 ways of power adjustment for the seats and 2-way lumbar support. We also have memory seats on the Prestige examples. Let's go ahead and climb inside. Now, closing up the door, let's look around at the rest of the cabin materials. Over here on the door trim, we've got a leatherette finished in black. Then we have the lighter color above in the center section. Soft touch plastic along the top. As we move to the upper dash, this is a soft touch plastic material as well with a stitching detail. To the center, we have kind of a, looks like a faux aluminum trim running through there. It is going to depend on which trim level that you choose, which interior trims you get, and that same material will cover all of the center section. No padding along the center console though, where your knee will rest. However, everything in here feels super solid and well built. Now let's fire it up with our standard push button start located right here. Now moving into some individual details, let's start off, of course, with our gauge cluster area, as always. So with this model, Kia basically gives you a dual screen arrangement no matter which version you choose, but most of the examples will just have a reconfigurable section in the center. However, the SX and SX Prestige examples, will get the full 12.3-inch gauge cluster, which allows you to customize the entire display. Now, furthermore, what's new for 2026, and certainly very nice to have, is a head-up display. This is on the SX Prestige. It's very similar to what you get in other very premium and high-end Kia products and even Genesis products, and definitely a nice addition that's not really expected for the segment. Now you have blind spot camera system on the Prestige examples. That also gives you the rain sensing wipers. And as we pull back to the steering wheel, you'll notice that we've got the new Kia design. It's a 2-spoke steering wheel now that's kind of squared off on the top and the bottom, and then has the off-center logo. Let us know in the comments if you like that design. Got your drive mode control and your new terrain mode for 2026 right there. And of course the wheel is manual tilt and telescoping with available heating. Now, let's take a look at interior storage. This is a family vehicle, so we want to see plenty of storage inside. And indeed, when we put it to the donut test, we've got a good result. Of course, we like to do that because here at Car Confections, our emblem is a logo. And the number today, what? We, of course, like to do that because the donut is our logo, and our number today is 11 donuts, which is a good result for this segment, especially considering that we have so much storage in addition to that center console. So we got this large storage cubby, which can turn into cup holders at the push of a button. Then if we slide that back, most versions also have a wireless phone charging pad down here, plenty of space, and then you got a bunch more USB connections. Now, as we pull back to the shifter, this is one distinct difference you'll see on the hybrid version versus the gas model, is it moves to an electronic shifter. That means you just twist over to D for drive, twist the opposite way for reverse. When you go into reverse, the SX Prestige gives you this 360-degree camera system. We have active trajectory, and you can also press the button right there to take a 3D view all around the entire vehicle. Press that P there for park, and then you have your brake hold and your electronic parking brake system as well. And then they have a whole panel of buttons over here for heated and ventilated seats. So if you're wondering, the heated seats come on all but the base hybrid model, and then the ventilated seats come with this loaded SX Prestige. Now in terms of the rest of the climate system, you'll notice we've got the panel right through here. Every single hybrid, even the LX, has a dual zone automatic setup. That's something a little different than the gas powered model. Very simple to adjust with our controls right through there. And then this layout remains from what it was before, which means if you press that button, it turns all of our climate controls now into audio controls instead. Now, speaking of audio, let's go ahead and give it a sample. We've got the loaded example, which has an 8-speaker Harman Kardon sound system upgraded over the standard 6-speaker sound system. Overall sound quality of this system is pretty good. Certainly fills up the cabin nicely. I will just say that this system here can be a little bit finicky since you don't really sometimes remember which setting you have it on. So you might go to, adjust your audio controls and accidentally turn up the heat. Now let's talk about the big improvements they made to technology. So unlike a lot of the competition, including the CR-V, this really doesn't mess around. So you've got 12.3-inch display standard on all versions. And new for 2026, all versions now have wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. So both those things are certainly very much appreciated. You can see we're in that Android Auto ecosystem right now. When we X out of that, we head into the new CCNC infotainment system. Well, I accidentally clicked on that, but it does have some built-in apps such as YouTube that you can use while you're at park. But what I was going to say is that this system is very nice and responsive overall. It pairs your phone super quickly, and you have built-in navigation as well. Up top, we've got a manual dimming mirror, even on this top example. I believe you can option on a auto dimming one as a standalone option if you want. And then one thing that's not just exclusive to the loaded model is this panoramic sunroof. The sunshade's super fast and the front panel does open up. This is included on the X-Line Hybrid and above.
So let's talk about the rear seat area of the Sportage. Now, when it comes to this, I think you'll be more than impressed. And the reason I say that is because this is class-leading rear space, at least Kia says so. 41.3 inches of legroom, and we're sitting at 38 inches of headroom. Those are really impressive figures, guys. Really, the only thing that would match this in terms of space would be, of course, the Hyundai Tucson, which is related to this vehicle, and the Honda CR-V. This is very spacious. Now, of course, we brought along the official Confections ruler. Now, the reason we do that is so we can see how much realistic knee room you can have. This is adjusted to Drew, who is 5'8". I'm 5'9" for reference, and look at that, 9 inches of knee room. That is fantastic for this segment. My feet can slide up underneath of the seats, and these seats do have quite a lot of recline. So they don't have as many stages as the CR-V, but they recline a very good amount to really maximize your comfort. We fold down the armrest. We have 2 cup holders inside. And then as far as other features, vents are located right here in the center area. We have a storage cubby. 2 USB-C ports are in each seat back for charging. You have a little coat hook, and you also have this thing that you can, hang a jacket on or whatnot if you don't want it to get wrinkled. Now, over on the door trim, we have a hard touch upper part. We have leatherette all through the center section, though, and on the armrest portion. And then you'll notice a button that's unique to the hybrid Sportage. That's right, the gasoline SX Prestige doesn't get this feature, but if you choose a hybrid or PHEV model, you will have the heated back seats on the fully loaded example, and you also have a bit of door storage as well. Now let's check out the cargo area. So the vast majority of hybrid trim levels will have a hands-free smart opening power tailgate. And let's discuss overall cargo capacity. Now you'll be very happy to know that the hybrid does not cost you anything when it comes to cargo capacity. Well, maybe a couple tenths of a cubic feet of overall cargo capacity. It's still very large. So we're sitting at 39.5 cubic feet behind the second row of seats, 74 cubic feet if those seats are folded down, which by the way, you can easily do with these handles right here. Really, the vast majority of competition does not give you handles to easily fold the second row of seats down, so I like that, and that will give you that full 74 cubic feet of space. They fold 60-40 split, by the way. And if you happen to be cross-shopping this Sportage with other compact SUVs on the market, there are numerous options. We'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. Now, you should do that because we've looked at all the options and ranked them in individual categories that might matter more or less to you. Things like cargo capacity, interior technology, powertrain choices, safety features, and value are all detailed there for you. So if you want to make an informed buying decision, definitely go to our website and check that out. Now let's go ahead and get our cargo length, width, and height figures. As far as our overall cargo length from behind Drew's 5'8" driving position, we are looking at 75 inches of it. From behind the second row of seats, we're looking at 39 inches of length. As far as the opening, that comes in at 42 inches wide. The height, that is going to be 29 inches tall. And let's do our load-in height as well. That's coming in at 29 inches as well. Now, if we lift up the floor, you will find a spare tire. Guys, I'm very happy to tell you that. I know we see a lot of your guys' comments. Even on the hybrid, you will have a spare tire. Well, guys, here we are behind the wheel of the refreshed Kia Sportage Hybrid. In this test drive, we're going to be discussing quite a lot, as you can see on the screen right now. We'll also be getting things like our sound level reading. But first, we need to start with a hard acceleration to show you what this new hybrid powertrain is all about.
All right, that's 60 miles an hour. Going a little bit downhill today with the Sportage Hybrid. So, when it comes to the powertrain situation, one of the nice things about the Sportage of this generation has been that you have 3 distinct powertrain options. They continue to sell the traditional gas option. We're in the hybrid again today. 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine plus our electric componentry makes 232 horsepower. That's 4 more horsepower, by the way, this year versus last year. You also still will have the availability of the plug-in hybrid variant if you want something that will give you some full electric range.
Yeah, but I have to say, that acceleration there, that is more than adequate for most people's needs, that's for sure. And I think it's a huge improvement over the standard gas model. Now, we've said that in previous Sportage reviews and Hyundai Tucson reviews. This is not really new information, but the fact is that extra all-electric torque and also the extra just horsepower that this model has makes it feel a lot spiffier when you're behind the wheel.
Two other things I want to note with that acceleration there. First is how quiet this 1.6-liter turbo is. Even when you stomp on it, it really doesn't become loud or obnoxious. And I think in comparison to particularly the RAV4 hybrid, which is this model's biggest rival, right? That model definitely sounds a lot more loud and coarse when you're accelerating hard. The other thing I want to point out is the fact that we've got a 6-speed stepped traditional automatic transmission with this system instead of a continuously variable or ECVT. That means that you avoid that kind of droning sound as well. And this is pretty smooth. When you put your foot down, you know, some of the shifts are a little slow because it is a 6-speed after all, but overall it is pretty smooth.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are going 55 miles per hour. I have it on fan speed 1 and none of our vented seats are on, so let's get our sound level reading. 55.6 decibels is what we have settled in at as our sound level reading in the Sportage Hybrid. And I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to the competition. I can find that at carconfections.com/sound level readings, where we've checked out the numerous compact SUVs that this vehicle competes with and measured how quiet they are. And that indeed is going to place it very similar to the refreshed Sportage gas model that we tested out. That's not a shocker, but it is one of the quieter options in the segment, that's for sure, when it comes to that sound level reading. A lot of the options can actually be very loud in this segment. Some of them are even 60 decibels. So this is one of the more premium cabin experiences, that's for sure. We actually are on a media drive, but we're in Kentucky, so we can count this as our official sound level reading for the Sportage Hybrid. I love the media drives being in Kentucky because it gets you those official figures right from the beginning. I also want to talk about overall ride quality with this vehicle. First and foremost, the Sportage has always really had a great ride quality. That's an important characteristic for this segment. Kia knows that, and they've really emphasized that with this model. It continues to ride really nicely. Even with the larger wheels on the outside on this SX Prestige, this will leave you impressed. We have super comfortable seats as well. The headrest hits you in just the right spot. So I don't think you're going to have any problems when it comes to ride quality. It does have stiff competition. You know, the CR-V rides really nicely as well, but I'm going to say it's very much on par with the best in the segment.
Now, the handoff between the electric power and the gasoline engine is very smooth. I will say it's now in line with the best brands, which would be Toyota and Honda.
Yeah. And as far as how the power is routed to the ground, one of the interesting things about this is that they are offering a front-wheel drive hybrid version. A lot of the rivals do kind of just lock you into all-wheel drive if you choose a hybrid. If you choose the front-wheel drive, it is only in the LX trim level, though, so that's important to know. It's only on the base model. But it gets great fuel economy, guys. 41, 44, 42 MPG for that front-wheel drive LX version. All the other trim levels will have all-wheel drive, and those are rated at 35, 36, 35. Now, when it comes to, comparing that to rivals, that's not as good as things like the current RAV4. The new one has not been rated yet, but I only anticipate that to get better. The CR-V is also better fuel economy-wise. So this is going to be on the lower end. That's something to keep in mind. However, it's not still a big benefit over the traditional gas model, which comes in at 26 MPG. So you're getting 9 better MPG as well as overall better performance. And that lower than competition fuel economy figure is going to be today's airball. But what's our slam dunk? What's our favorite element about the Kia Sportage?
That's just going to be the value. There's lots of things we like about it, but it's really a value-packed model, that's for sure. In all the trims, the lower trims particularly have a ton of value. And then when you get to the top trims, they just give you a ton of stuff. So you're really getting a lot for your money.
Now, since we are talking about the hybrid models, I do want to hit a few of the specs for the plug-in hybrid, if that's something that interests you. The plug-in hybrid will have the same engine setup. It's going to have a 13.8 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery pack, 268 horsepower, so that's the most powerful version of the Sportage that they sell. And as far as all-electric range, it has 34 miles of all-electric range. Do be aware, though, its starting price is about $40,000, so it is going to be by far the most expensive type of Sportage that you can buy. Now let's discuss pricing. So when it comes to the Sportage Hybrid, yes, it does demand a little bit of a price premium over the gas model, but it's really not as much as you would expect. And when it comes to this model, we, of course, have the fully loaded example. So this is the 2026 Hybrid SX Prestige all-wheel drive. We also have a $200 option set and $1,395 destination. All told, we're sitting at under $42,000 fully loaded up, which I think is a great price point for a fully loaded vehicle like this, where you get all of the features. Now, if you're curious as to where this vehicle is assembled, its final assembly point is in Korea. It is worth noting the hybrid models are made in Korea, whereas the gasoline versions are made in the U.S. Now, if you're looking to buy a Kia Sportage or any new vehicle, we'd encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. The reason you do that is because we have a tool on our website that will connect you with local car dealers in your area to get you the best price. It's also going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealership negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, as well as things like our monthly payment tool, we'd encourage you to visit the link in our video description, as well as a pinned comment down below. But buying a vehicle is about more than just the original MSRP, so let's discuss resale and reliability as well. First up, let's talk about resale value. As an economics graduate myself, we took the time to develop what we think is a good estimate for this Kia Sportage's potential resale value. We estimate that after 5 years and 60,000 miles, it would be worth 49.02% of original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 21.1%. Now, it's worth noting those are right at the industry average for all vehicle brands when it comes to resale values. However, it would be less than some of its competition like Toyota and Honda with the CR-V and RAV4 respectively.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several reliability studies and combines them in a way that gives you a holistic picture. In this regard, Kia is rated above the overall industry average for all vehicle brands.
Now, if you'd like to learn more about our resale values, our reliability data, or our methodology, be sure to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a new vehicle is a very big decision, so you want to make sure you're making a smart purchase, especially if you're cross-shopping between different vehicle brands. Now, when it comes to your warranty, that's also very important. That is going to be a very good one. So it's a 5-year, 60,000 mile basic warranty, a 10-year, 100,000 mile powertrain warranty, and you do not have complimentary maintenance. And guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, which we hope you did, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. By subscribing, you're going to be a part of our Car Confections family. We have a lot of fun on this channel, and I promise you won't want to miss out. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.